live stream. Okay, cool. Custom live streaming service.
Thing.
Okay.
So apparently you can
Oh,
use...
we're live on LinkedIn. Okay, cool.
Are we?
We're
Okay.
live. Well, hey, committee. Oh, Kat is here already. Carol, Michelle, this is so cool.
See, I would have gone the convoluted way and like opened Zoom with like broadcast it with OBS and like it would have been
Well,
a
this
thing.
is convoluted. We're streaming through Restream to Twitch, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. Hey, everybody. One of our wonderful committee members had an idea, as they tend to have, which was, can we try to stream the beginning of today's session, just the first few minutes, on LinkedIn Live? So we're giving that a try, and feel free to turn off your camera if that's an issue. But let me post the link for you.
The donor participation project is now doing the freemium model.
Totally.
You get your 10 minutes of presentation if you want more.
The corporate sophistication of this organization is unparalleled. I mean, we'll extract every last cent of value. Plus, we have cool T-shirts. Who needs a T-shirt?
We do have cool T-shirts.
Ooh.
Minaz, you don't have one? Oh, April, you don't have one?
Like
oh
that.
my goodness.
That would be great.
Oh, we need a new print run.
Yep.
Okay. Oh. So so the first badge, the very original first badge that will be valued at millions of dollars in a few years is Kirk's. That's the color I chose because I don't know if I'm colorblind or just I don't have any taste. But do people prefer Kirk's color or my color?
I like brighter colors. Kirk's color is great. Yeah.
Light blue. Oh, April Stallings. Poll.
Yeah, we'll start a poll on here.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, welcome, Kevin.
How you doing?
It's great to have you here. Well, shall we, Master of Ceremonies, Kirk Schmidt, shall we give it a few minutes, get started?
Yeah, we can give it one more minute and then I'll...
Okay.
You can do your thing and then I'll do my thing. And
yep. It's a well-oiled machine by now.
probably worth mentioning that those who are actually registered for the full course, you're going to want to be in the Zoom call because the LinkedIn will end before the rest of the talk. If you're on LinkedIn, this is kind of a preview of episode 2 of our 4-episode gaming fundraising piece. So give you an idea of what we're doing, and you can always register for the last 2 courses.
Which will not only put a lot of information in your brain and develop your career, but also support this pretty great group, Donor Participation Project. So thanks a bunch. Barney is here. He joined today. Hi, Barney.
Hi, Lewis. Thank you.
All right, we could probably get started, eh, Lewis?
Okay, so welcome everybody. If you're on LinkedIn, this is a free preview. Kirk was joking. We're going on the freemium model. We're trying this, as many things that we do, as an experiment. So to see if we can help get the word out, because we believe that there is a lot of potential in fundraising through communities that gather in video games, that gather on streaming services, and that gather in esports games or leagues, tournaments, etc. So yes, it's about fundraising, but it's because we believe that there is a community component that's super sticky, super important. and that we wanted to explore. The story of this course today is Donor Participation Project is a fundraiser organization. We had a conference back in April. One of the presenters spoke about the potential for increased diversity in donor bases if we tapped into audiences that were gathering around video games. And we thought, well, I have no idea about any of this. I mean, I'm like Candy Crush is as far as I've gone. So we put out a call to the fundraiser community, and actually we had like 4 world-class experts in our group in this. April Stallings, who presented last week, 5 world-class experts to present, and then another 12, I think, to help us put this on. So Minhaz is here, April Stalling presented, Jason Daniels has been helping out immensely, Deb Best, who's on the call too, Kirk Schmidt, and several others, Marcus Howard. As they come in, I'll introduce you to them. So everybody who's joining the course, welcome to the course and the community. Feel free to ask questions. We're pretty open. So, and I know many of you already wrote Kirk with questions about the setup for today, and I'm going to be quiet, which is the best thing I can do, and let Kirk take it off.
All right. I will now share the screen. This should work. It worked before. All right. So today in episode 2, we are going to kind of take some of the stuff that April talked about last week in terms of the tools, and we're going to kind of go a little bit more in depth in them. I'm going to show off a little bit of the tools, what they're used for, some of the components you should know about them. Obviously, any one of these tools we could probably talk for hours about. One of the things, open broadcasting software, I mean, there's plenty of videos online of how to do individual things on that. We could get into all that depth, but what I want to do is kind of give you more of a visibility on them and an overview and see what they're used for. A little bit about me first. So my gamer tag is Bennu. If that's already used up, it will be KS Bennu somewhere. This is me scoring probably my nicest goal ever in Rocket League. I am by day director of fundraising optimization for Frontier Marketing. I've been in the charitable sector. Whoops. We're recording now. I've been in the charitable sector for 15 years as a fundraiser and analyst, but I am a gamer. I play a lot of Rocket League, play a lot of PUBG with some friends, and then I do a lot of tabletop gaming, board games, Dungeons and Dragons, what have you. So all of this is talking about streaming and really gaming as a spectator sport. So I'm going to tell you a quick little story here. When I was growing up, we had all of the toys. My dad got us our first computer in 1984. So, all of the nerds would come to my house. And I used to get in trouble with my parents all of the time because they would go, Kirk, your friends are over. Why aren't you letting them play games? And I would tell them, they don't want to play, they want to watch me play. And my parents were like, that's ridiculous. Nobody wants to watch somebody else play video games. And about 5 years ago, my dad came to me and he said, Kirk, I need to apologize. I had no idea that people actually want to watch video games and how big this would become. So, of course, now we have things like stadiums full of people watching video games. This is League of Legends. So you can see how, it's not quite packed, but it's pretty packed. There are, of course, like Rocket League, my game of choice. There's the Rocket League Championship Series where people physically go to these games and watch it online. Gaming is a spectator sport. And it's not just video games. There's also, as I said, Dungeons Dragons. I was looking for a picture of a Dungeons Dragons group that I watch called Acquisitions Incorporated. I've been to many live shows. So I was searching for an image for this presentation, and I found the greatest of images because I found me in the audience with my wife. This was, I believe, PAX 2015. It was after the green flame, if anybody knows it, green flame became this big thing with it, to the point where there are now foam green flame things that we would celebrate in the audience. It was just kind of awesome. But yeah, so I happened to pull this image. There is me with my wife watching Dungeons and Dragons live being played. So gaming of all types and streaming of all types is really very much a spectator sport. So we're going to talk about the tools to broadcast and the tools to create fundraising out of this. So what tools are we gonna need? We're gonna need streaming tools. If we are streaming, we might not be the ones streaming. As April kind of talked about last week, you're probably going to pair with a number of streamers, content creators. They're going to do a lot of this work for you, but there is some value in knowing how to stream. There's also some value in doing things like hosting streams. So you can have your own Twitch channel and you can host when other people are doing your streaming. So we're going to talk about streaming tools. We're going to talk about the streaming platforms. We're going to talk about community tools, so how to engage with your audience. And we're going to talk about donation tools, really expanding on a lot of what April talked about last week. So when it talks about streaming tools, three that April talked about were OBS, which is open broadcasting software. That is open source software, so it is being actively developed by the community. There's Streamlabs OBS, which basically is a branded version. They have taken a lot of the elements and made their own version of it. There's Stream Elements, which is not really a streaming tool. It's really a bunch of tools for streaming tools. April talked about it last week. I'll show you a little bit about it today. And then Lewis uses Restream.io when he's streaming on LinkedIn Live. I've used it plenty. It does a lot of the same types of things that these tools do, but it's online and it's a little bit easier to use than some of these other tools at first. So what do streaming tools do? These tools will do things like control your webcam. You can display other programs. You could display parts of screens. You can display websites. You can do those as sections. You can display any of your assets, so any of your branded assets, anything like that, play sounds, provide transitions, and generally just run your stream, turn it on, being able to comment, being able to collaborate with the community. So open broadcasting software is what I'm going to show first. So you'll see here, and I'll show it'll play a video in just a moment. But basically, I have OBS here. This is what I tend to use. You can see that on kind of the left-hand side, I know it's going to be relatively small on your screens, but it talks about stream chat. So this is where I can talk with people. You can see that the last game that I streamed was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, which is a really fun game, especially if you grew up in arcades like myself or April. I've got plenty of different scenes, so these are like different configurations, and the video I'll show in a moment. I'll show you between two different scenes. You've got audio mixers, all of that. Basically, you have everything you need to run different things at once. And so when you see me start moving the mouse around here, you can see that I've got two things up so that I can transition between them. One of them is me drawing on the screen. One of them is like the setup screen, and it goes from one to the other. And then I can start playing. You can see that I'm overlaid on top of this drawing tool, so my webcam is active. If you look at me very quickly on Zoom in terms of the camera, you can tell that my curtain